Good morning. This afternoon on Good Evening, we'll be taking you all the way back to the 90s with this 2006 DVD release from Paper Ad, Trash Talking. This right here is a DVD from Paper Ad, Trash Talking from 2006. Paper Ad is a art collective from Providence, Rhode Island, and they make comic zines, they do art installations, a number of other things. In their artwork, Paper Ad uses a lot of references to 90s culture, 8-bit music, references to video games, sloppy edits, primary colors, pretty much anything that ends up in a sensory overload. This was a release from Load Records, which is also home to a lot of very noisy acts, such as Lightning Bolt, who come from Fort Thunder, which is also where Paper Ad comes from. A great example of their work is the Mario movie, which is a hacked version of a Nintendo Mario game in which they changed around the dialogue to make it him having internal dialogue about his own existential crisis. They've had all sorts of recurring characters such as the Tux Dog, a problem-solving team, and 3 characters who live together named Alfei, Roba, and Horace. All 3 of these would go on to become the show Problem Solvers on Cartoon Network, which was based off of a pilot submitted to Adult Swim called Neon Gnome, which I thought was a lot better than the show that's actually on now. So what exactly is this DVD? Well, it's just kind of a compilation of all sorts of crazy moments. There's a pretty lengthy pilot that's pre-Neon Gnome, which is the centerpiece, but pretty much everything wrapped around that is just total, complete nonsense, which I mean in the best way possible. I could honestly just watch the crazy animation mixed with live action stuff all day long. It's so great. There are a few dull moments here and there, but for the most part it just moves along at a pretty quick pace and leaves the viewer just completely confused. I have almost no problems with this release, except for the fact that the Alfei pilot comes right in the middle and just slows everything down, which seems to be on purpose, but it just ends too abruptly. But I did like the show within the show towards the end of that where it's them as babies and a parody of the Looney Tunes babies. I can see where some of the criticism comes in. The animation is just so busy and seizure-inducing, and it can at times look like a lazy effort when in fact it probably took a lot of work to... I heard people were on drugs when they made this. If that's true, so what? It's absurd, there's hidden messages, it cuts so quickly together, and it all means nothing, as the characters at the end point out. The highlight of the DVD for me is definitely the second half or last third or so, where it just completely goes out there and just, it's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. There's a very specific sense of humor going on here that I happen to like, and Paper Ad are sort of innovators of this new type of comedy that embraces the 90s culture, while at the same time adding this new mix of strange, dry humor. Some examples could be Tim and Eric Awesome Show, or Everything in Heaven is TV, or Everything is Terrible. And that's basically it. That's the end of the review. So if you've watched this video all the way through and you haven't already subscribed, please do so now. And be good to the babysitter while your mother and I are out. Seriously, be good.